So I am I would say multiple entrepreneur. I have 3 different businesses and one of them is very different to the other 2. So my primary business is a workplace culture consultancy. So I feel very passionately around the experiences we have at work. And as an ex-HR director, I kind of flew the nest from the corporate world because I thought workplaces are killing people. So I want to go change that. So for the past 8 years, I've been helping over 60 different organisations now, over 100,000 people in all over the world to create happier, healthier, more productive and purposeful workplaces. So very corporate, sensible job. And the other side of me, I'm a sex life coach. So that definitely brings a different dynamic to things. So I spend a lot of time helping people with dating, relationships and their sex life. And then I was diagnosed with body dysmorphia about 4 years ago. And as part of my recovery, I kind of went down a normal therapy route, and it wasn't quite what I needed. I needed some kind of smack in the face with body dysmorphia. I don't know if any of you know what body dysmorphia is, but it distorts the way you see yourself. It's like walking through a hall of mirrors every day. You know, when you see yourself small, then really big, and you don't have a check on reality to what you look like. And I thought, well, do you know what? If I'm going to beat this thing, I'm going to go all in. And so I found burlesque dancing, and I have to say it was probably the greatest therapy I had in solving how I deal with my body dysmorphia. And so as a result of that, in comes my 3rd business. I am now a burlesque dancer, but I also have my own burlesque dance school. And it's all about helping people. And it's not just aimed at women. Actually, I have trans people, non-binary people in my dance school, helping them build a relationship with their body in a way you probably wouldn't in a therapist's office.
So that's really interesting. That's really interesting that you can do. I guess thinking about it makes sense, isn't it? That you can do therapy and discover your body and gain more confidence through dance. And so what kind of people come to you? Can I come to your dance school?
Absolutely. It's such an inclusive space. And I think this is the beauty of burlesque is actually about the celebration of the body.
Yes.
And so I really love the diversity of my I call them my team, because they bolster me up just as much as I bolster them up. And so I have 18-year-olds in the class, and I think the oldest person I've got is 63.
Really?
And like I said, I have trans women in my class. I have non-binary people in my class. I have taught all manner of sexualities. It really isn't limited. All races, all religions, everything is completely welcome in my class.
Wow. Let's talk about your career coaching and your approach to how you do your coaching style, because I think that's interesting. How do you generally approach I was going to say a patient, a client?
Client, yeah.
And what sort of clients generally come to you for help?
So it starts off normally from a workplace culture perspective, but somehow end up talking about sex with them. But normally people are stuck in their careers. And so where I'm running a big workplace culture project and I'm overturning the hierarchy in some organisation, and they're inspired by that and they think, oh, do you know what? I really wish I could be a bit more outspoken, a bit like we heard from Sophie. I'm a bit like you, Sophie. Like I'm very outspoken, very opinionated. I've got something to say, I'm going to say it. And thankfully people pay me to do that. So, but I think they see that and then they want to come and get a slice of the Sophie pie. Like how do you do it? And so a lot of my kind of career coaching has come from working with chief executives, senior directors, all the way down, really. I mean, I'm working with all sorts of people in organisations. But one of the things for me is I think we just get so stuck sometimes. And the things that I see happen in organisations is people really want to break free. And they can't because they've got the good pension and the company car and the bonus at the end of the year and the annual leave. And it keeps them stuck. And I had all of that. I mean, I was earning 6 figures when I decided to quit my job. And in my first year, I earned 12 grand. Yeah. So, you know, there's got to be a bit of like gumption behind you and a bit of power and self-belief. But I think so many people believe what we are told at school, by our families, by society, by politics, what we're supposed to be when we grow up. And I'm here to challenge that. I mean, if I hadn't, I wouldn't have free businesses now and the freedom that I now have.
Yeah. And so if someone is feeling stuck at work, what should they do? I mean, I have moved on from a major career. I made a major career move a couple of years ago now. It was November 2023. I remember the date exactly, but never mind. 6th of November 2023. And so if someone was feeling stuck, what should they do? Because usually when you're in that situation, it feels a bit like a hamster wheel. There's quite a lot going on all at the same time. So if someone was feeling stuck, what should their first step be?
Well, I think the first thing most people do is they start looking at can I afford to leave my job? What would happen? Can my partner carry blah blah? And actually, I don't go out. I don't care about the outside infrastructure. What I care about is what's going on in here, because you have to find the power in here to propel yourself through all of that. So the first thing that I do, and I do that across my career coaching, whether I'm doing it with a senior exec, a CEO, or I'm working with my sex life clients, is I want to find out what their values are. What are the things in their life that they are driven by? And so, for example, it's actually quite funny that I'm here with you today on stage, because 7 years ago today, I did my TEDx talk. So it's like I'm on stage again 7 years later. Which,
well, there you go.
And actually, my TED talk taught me that my top three values are freedom, curiosity, and play. And without any of those, I'm in pain. If I feel chained and under control, someone's controlling me and I don't have any right of decision or any autonomy. If I'm unable to ask questions, be interested in people, whether it's people, learning, new insights, new perspectives on things, if I'm not able to be curious with that, it causes me pain. And I'm really playful. I like humour. I like being rebellious, a little bit mischievous. I love taking things apart and rebuilding things. And so if I don't have those three things, I'm in pain, a lot of pain. And so that's what I would say to my coaching clients is let's find those three things that if you don't have them, you're going to really feel it. And if you do have them, they light you up. I think we all had those moments, right? We've just felt so in flow. And so I help my clients find that space. And then it makes the other stuff insignificant because you want to chase the feeling. Once you know what that feeling is, I help direct them to the path that's going to give them more of those values.
I mean, that's certainly, you've basically put it so succinctly. That certainly was my experience. Just that feeling of freedom, like literal freedom. I want to be free to express myself. I want to be free to see my patients how I want to see them. And don't get me wrong, there was a stage in my life where, obviously, as a doctor, you need to do that 9 to 5. You need to work hard. You need to go to medical school and do all of that. But ultimately, it's a freedom to be able to do what I wanted. I think that was a major value for me. The other thing, when you talked about pain, the way I look at it is that pain is inevitable. Everything you do, even starting your own business and moving on from where you're stagnated at to your next destination is painful. But what I don't want is suffering. Because suffering, somebody said it in Trevor Noah's podcast, What Now, the other day, and he said, suffering is the rule of not going through the pain. So, and I guess the best analogy is if you think about the animals in the Serengeti, they have to do this long, painful journey to the next watering hole. If they stayed and didn't move, they would suffer. But they have to get through the pain to get to the next watering hole. So for me, at some point, for a lot of women especially, you get to that stage where you stay, but you're suffering. And some of those tasks that were difficult but doable become difficult but intolerable. And that's, for me, is usually the sign that you need to move on. Would you?
Yeah, I think that's a really good analogy. I think the piece there for me, Chinwe, is if you're going to be in pain, you may as well be in pain moving towards the right
Doing the
thing,
right
right? Rather than
direction,
being
yes.
in pain and moving towards suffering. And so I think if you're feeling that pain, be like, do you know what? There's a greater gain at the end of it. And that's what ultimately I encourage my coaching clients to do, because sometimes on their own, they're so stuck because they're seeing the outside stuff and they haven't done the inner work.
Inner work, yeah. I mean, that's incredible. And if people were to look for a coach, for instance, because maybe it's because I've been in a particular organization for most of my career, but coaching was never really a thing. Is it like something, I feel like there's a lot of it around nowadays. Is there a trigger for that, or?
In the coaching space, it's a saturated market. It's like, I belong to a big business group, and I would say about 75% of us are coaches. In fact, we're all trying to find very creative names to not, like a life strategist, to try not be a coach. And I also think that the term coach is traditionally associated with sports.
Sports, yes.
And so you kind of have this, this person behind us, like, come on, like shouting from the sidelines. They say, run faster, or don't pass him the ball, or, whatever. And I guess it's a little bit like that. It's a little bit like having your kind of personal advocate kind of on your shoulder. But I think the best thing that comes with coaching, which is why I think it's getting bigger and bigger, is we're in a very, very self-help led environment now. We can access self-help from a lot of spaces now. Books, podcasts, YouTube channels, social media. If we need something on anxiety, we could pretty much find anything anywhere on that particular topic now. And what coaching does, I think, is takes it one layer further, because it's then very intimate. It's very one-to-one. And there's only so far self-help resources are going to get you, whereas the coach is going to ask the really awkward, horrible questions that you don't want to answer, or you've never spoken out loud before. And then when that person says it out loud, it's like, oh my God, did I actually just say that? And there's this silence, and that's I've gone goosebumps. You see, it's the moment that I love the most. I call it the aha moment. It's the one where I think that's why they pay me to do what I do, because I will see something in them they can't pull out themselves, and they hate me for it initially, but then 2 or 3 sessions along, they'll be like, wow, that's actually changed the way I see my life, or I see my career. So
do you think women view coaching different from men? Because if you think about coaching as more affiliated to sports, I feel like I know more men who just naturally have coaches and less so women. Is that true, or just my...
Well, it's pretty about 50-50 for me, but I guess it depends on the space I'm coaching in.
Okay, yeah.
So for my career coaching, culture, leadership, exec coaching, there does tend to be more women, although I do have quite a few men. But bizarrely, on the sex side, I have more male clients than I have female clients. But I think that's because we as women talk to each other about sex and men don't. So they need to pay to have that kind of safe space where they can kind of share what's going on for them without kind of being mocked, or, down the pub, kind of the mates are like elbowing them. So whereas I think in the corporate space, women need a bit of extra support behind them, especially if they're growing up through the ranks, to push them and to say, look, come on, you haven't got to stay in your lane here. You can get outside your lane, go and push for this. Whereas I think there's a lot of statistics around this when you look at job applications. The latest research is that men will apply for a job if they meet 30% of the criteria. Women won't apply for the job if they only meet 90%. So if you think about it from that perspective, then women do need that extra push, because as a coach, I'll be going, you're insane, look at your CV, like, come on, 10% is nothing. Whereas the statistics with guys is like, yeah, I've got that. Even if I do 10% of the job, I'm going to go for it. So that's not for everyone, but that's the research. So I think there is some correlation there.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible. You asked me, what was the question you asked me this? You left me a message this morning.
Oh, I did. Yes, I did.
Oh God,
I guess I
we'll
was
get this podcast on.
Well, I was interested in the story of Health Mary. The name intrigues me, actually, Chinwe. Like, I was inspired by, wanted to know the inspiration behind the name and how you got to the branding.
honestly, it wasn't anything that special, other than I was kind of thinking I need this, thinking out loud at home. Actually, it's very special. I take that back, because ultimately it was my little one, Norma, that kind of helped me tie it together. So, and I say it's not special because people think that maybe I went off to the mountains somewhere and came up with this name. And so that's what I mean. Like, it was just such a very straightforward, mundane moment, which was really, impactful, where I was thinking I need a name that would encompass, reflect the health part of it, but also make it very feminine. And I was playing around with different names, and then she was like, why don't you just put it together? So we had Health Magda, Help Amanda, Help all of that. And then eventually Mary came to my mind, and I was like, Mary, yeah. Mary is the quintessential name. Every culture, every religion, everybody knows a Mary. So putting them together means that these two words standing together will immediately reflect what the brand stands for. And it got stuck. And next time I had a chat with Naomi, I was like, well, Mary, and da-da-da. And then, yeah.
Doesn't sound that mundane to me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but this is a good example of how there's a special moment every time, and what seemed like a little chat with my then 10-year-old became this thing, and yeah, that's what I meant by that.
I also, one of the other things I was curious about was, you and I have both kind of had very I would say corporate. You've been in the medical industry, right? But there's lots of rules, regulations, I essentially wasn't an employment lawyer, but I had to do the same exam. So everything for me around making sure that we obeyed the rules, etc., stayed out of court. Lots of rule-driven work from both of us. And stepping into becoming an entrepreneur, you have got the stabilizers off automatically. You jump on a bike that's running before you've even got the pedals going. And I was really intrigued about your journey with that, from moving away from such a highly professional career into now being an entrepreneur. And from my perspective, you go from being the specialist in your area to then having to be the marketing director, the sales director, the accountant. And you're like, oh my gosh, I only want to just go into organizations and have some fun with people. And then you have all this other stuff. So I was really intrigued by your journey on that and how you found the transition.
I think the hardest bit was the identity issue, right? Always being referred to. I have an uncle now who, although I'm 47, 48, he still calls me young doc, right? So everybody thinks you're a doctor no matter what happens. And now, because you're a doctor, I guess, but it's that identity issue that was having to grapple with that. And so now I'm also something else. That was a bit difficult, but my way of doing things is always to go head in and just confront it and give myself a reason to get over it. So I had done a bit of interior designing to decorate my house, and I ended up doing a diploma because for some reason I can't do anything halfway. So I am an interior designer. And then I said to my husband, I'm going to start an interior design business. And this was just around COVID. And I took that as an opportunity to really play around with the fact that you can be a doctor and something else. And that was the start of it. So that process was really very important to me. But in terms of getting skills as a doctor, we are highly, highly skilled, right? I have been there at the start where a new life comes to the world. And sometimes, sadly, when we have to say goodbye. And in between is this plethora of exposure, experiences, skills. I have been in busy A&E unit. You have to keep your head cool and resuscitate a human being and stop them from dying. And what I'd realized is that those are all skill sets that are really essential. And I say this in this manner because a lot of people are in their 9-to-5 jobs, and you are acquiring skills wherever you are. You just need to understand that they are skills, and you have to learn in a way that allows you to translate it in other ways. But if you are letting your job happen to you rather than you be in the job and acquiring the skills meaningfully, then you miss out on the fact that you're already prepared for everything and anything, no matter where you are, whether you're a doctor or whether you work in corporate or whether you're in a bank. We're all acquiring skills that are so transferable, and just having the confidence to display it in the new setting. There are some adjustments you have to make, though, when you move between industries. So for me, as a doctor, 30 minutes is 30 minutes. In the tech world, I don't know how many times I've nearly fallen out with my tech team, where I say 3 days and 3 weeks later, we're still having the same conversation. And you're like, yeah, we're going to do it. So I had to very quickly get over the fact that actually start in medicine means give the IV fluid straight away and all of that, but do it now in the tech world is okay. We'll get to it. So, so there were those frustrations that I had to quickly learn to deal with. But the people skills was already there, and I've just managed to navigate my way through those difficult moments. I think one of the big things that does pay off now for me as well as an entrepreneur is the way I do my business. I do my business with people in mind because I'm a doctor. I can't really think anyhow else, if that makes sense. So for me, Health Mary is something I'm doing because I'm into people. I'm into people. And luckily for me, I am in contact with my whys every single day. Every 2 days, I'm having a clinic consultation, or I've met a family, I've met another mom in my clinic that reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, yeah, that makes it doable.
There's something else you've just said there in your journey to kind of get to where you are now. The interior design piece really interested me, because I think the thing is with me, freedom is the biggest value for me, and that is like freedom of I can do whatever I like, and so you can kind of create a business out of anything. And I wanted to ask you a question around focus, because on my own doing, that's why I've got 3 businesses, and I've probably got another 5 little ideas in the background, and they all have to feed each other, right? So the big business then feeds the sex life coaching, and that then feeds the burlesque school, because actually the burlesque school is just me dancing in nipple tassels. It's not really a business. It's just Sophie having fun as a Ophelia Noir. But it's so enticing to go chasing the next big shiny thing or the next big idea. And I class myself as, I think the technical terms are polymath, but essentially I just call myself multi-passionate. So when I was in my corporate career, I trained as a yoga teacher and also as a nutritionist, because I thought people's posture at work was really bad. So I was like, right, I'm going to teach people how to sit properly at work, because they'd often walk into work about 5'8" and come out about 5'6", where they were like, they were so hunched over. And then the 2 o'clock slump, where everyone used to go to the vending machines and just raid the Kit Kats and the Coca-Cola. And I thought, this is awful. What are we doing to our people? So I trained as a nutritionist and as a yoga teacher to kind of, and actually it's worked, because for the past 8 years I have been teaching those elements in my workplace culture stuff. But it's very easy to kind of seek that interest and then go off. And I've got lots of squiggly lines everywhere. How do you maintain your focus and not be enticed off down, or do you go down different avenues? Do you squiggly line like me, Chinwe, or do you stay kind of firmly, this is what I'm doing, and that there's no kind of outside on that?
I stay with what I'm doing, but I do add flavor. I do think that it's okay to focus on one thing, but to add different elements to it that would interest you and that would excite you. But all of those elements should feed back to the main thing. So, for instance, the podcast that we're launching is also giving the same message. It's women's health, women empowerment. So, finding all those other the different ways to funnel down to the same core value, if that makes sense. And even within the business, within Health Mary, we have the Health Mary store. We've got the webinars coming up. We have Health Mary Boost, where we're helping other practitioners to build their own businesses. And so in a way, I'm doing quite a few things, but under one umbrella. And I think there's a way to do that can help you achieve the same overarching goal, but still, feed into your, versatility and your love for fun.
Yeah.
I would get bored if I had to do just the same thing. But also as a business, it's also important because if you think about business and opportunities as somebody at the top of a staircase that's thrown down loads of Skittles, right? And somebody asks you to use one cup and try and catch as many Skittles as you can as it's falling down, you're not going to catch many. But if you set up 5 or 6 cups and just leave them on the ground and then stand back and come back in 10 minutes, you will have quite a few Skittles. So for me, I enjoy setting up my little cups and then watching the Skittles fall in. Technically, is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, I love that analogy. I'm going to remind myself when I decide that I want to go off and be an Indian head masseuse.
Yeah. Just make sure the cup is turned upside down, way up, so that everything kind of falls into place. Because what you really want ultimately is to help people fundamentally, and you're doing it in so many different ways, and that's okay too. I think that's okay. Yeah. 100%. Does anybody have any questions for Sophie?
Wow, love that question. Yes. So actually, I have coached quite a few people that are like fresh graduates out of university and even sixth formers, actually, kind of deciding what they want from their path. And I think it's a combination of your mum's point around being very clear on your why and understanding what is it you really want to experience? What is it you want from life? And so I'd go through that without trying to attach a career to it, actually. I'd want to know who the core of you are, like what lit you up as a child? Like when you think about, like I said before, we all have those moments where we just have so much fun and we lose ourselves and we look at the watch and go, oh my God, like I've been on stage for the past half an hour. Where did the time go? When are you in those moments? And I would want to find out from you what's going on for you, what's the environment around those things. And then we'll go, right, well, what kind of job or what kind of thing could you create from that? And actually, I think I'm quite biased because obviously being a workplace culture specialist, I see so many people feeling the same way. I don't think it matters whether you're young or you're old. I think lots of people feel quite disgruntled. And I personally think because I can't change every organisation, because some of them are just so old hat, they're like old dinosaurs. They're just going to eventually die out, hopefully. But what I would say is to create your own path. I think we're so fortunate now with the way we have technology available to us, is you can make a career out of anything. So, if take, for example, my daughter, she's absolutely crazy on paper mache models, making bracelets, little oil things. She's 12 years old and she's got an Etsy shop. Yeah. And so she's not making a lot of money, but it's her passion. And I'm like, do you know what? You can become a paper mache sculpturist then, and maybe attach beads to it. So I think there's a way. I think we're so conditioned to get in the careers book at school and get in the careers guidance, and we're told we have to choose from this, 101 different careers. And I think actually we have got the greatest gift now of being able to make money in any way, shape or form we wish to. Yeah. And that's what I'd encourage in the coaching session, is finding that.
I think one of the things that something I'd add to that actually is that we all have talents. You know what? That thing you can do that feels easy, and sometimes not even what you can do, is how you can be present in people's lives. So I often say to Ola that I think her talent is listening to people. She's one of those people that would sit and can absorb her entire friend group, and for some reason she's fine with it. So your talent could be listening, that you're very good at listening, and that's what you can do naturally and easily. And if you pick careers or pick jobs that allow you to be that person, then that's a good positive step. And during that process, or while you're in the job, you then acquire your skills with intention and with meaning, knowing that you are not your job.
Can I pick up on that point as well, you've just said there? Because I think we often think of a strength as something that we're good at. But strengths have multi-layers to it. And I think the greatest definition I've come across, it comes from a guy called Marcus Buckingham, who is a specialist in finding people's strengths. And he says that a strength is something that you are good at, that you can replicate and you enjoy. Yeah. Because imagine just like, so for example, when I was in my corporate HR role, I had to do a lot of data analysis. I mean, do I look like the kind of person who likes data analysis? I was good at it. I could replicate it. I could do it time and time again. But my God, did I hate it. Because think about my values, okay? Freedom, curiosity, and play. There's none of that when you're staring at a computer, writing a report on HR information systems. It's just, it wasn't me. And so I think when you're also thinking about what you might like to do and where you might like to go, is to think, okay, well, just because I'm good at this thing doesn't mean I have to make a career from it, because actually, is it going to bring me joy?
Yeah.
And can I replicate it? Because if you're good at something and it's just a fluke and you can't do it again, then it's like, oh, okay, maybe that's not a strength of mine. But also the part of it being replicable is sometimes it just ends up being an experiment rather than actually becoming a strength. And experimentation is wonderful. And I think we can keep on doing that time and time again in our careers. But I think holding close to those three elements of what makes a strength means that you may be good with numbers, but you may not enjoy it. So don't go down the path of I'm good with numbers, so I should do something with numbers, if it's not something that you hold close to you.
Yeah, 100%. Sophie, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
We should catch up, because now I'm actually talking to you. I don't know, just now I'm realizing, hey, we have a bit we have a bit of analogy there, right? You had your whole big corporate world, and then you kind of moved on and, to other things. And I think there's so much that we can still learn from each other moving forward. I love the experience this podcast and Health Mary and my journey as an entrepreneur has given me. It's just amazing meeting amazing women like you. It's just been an honor. So thank you so much for coming.
And same to
today.
you. Thank you. Thank you very
much.
much.